Good morning, everyone. I had actually decided that I wasn't going to play music at the beginning. I just like listening to music to get me ready to go and kind of pumped up for our conversations. And I hit play on my playlist. Oh, good morning, everyone. Apparently, that wasn't recording. So I was going to say I had actually decided that. Oh, my hair, I swear I have to do this before I get on. Um, Anyway, I had decided that I wasn't going to play music during the beginning, but I thought it was really appropriate. And certainly, like as soon as I hit play on my playlist, I was like, holy cow, Better Dig 2. Yeah, this is so appropriate right now for the conversation that I'm about to have with you. So, anyway, I don't own the rights to that music. I do love the band Perry, and they are amazing. And I actually still love to sing their songs a lot. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for sticking with me through, and this is going to drive me crazy. I'm going to end up redoing my hair while we're on the phone, or while we're talking. I'm sorry. Um, I just, thanks for sticking this out with me. This is day 20, and obviously I'm a very real person. I don't know too many people who would do all the things I do when I'm doing these lives, but that's the whole point. That is really the whole point, is to kind of give you just an insight into who I am, to talk to you, to hopefully make a small difference in your world or in your life when we're dealing with so much uncertainty right now. So I started these lives again 20 days ago just to really talk to you guys about maybe ways to make your life a little bit better, a little bit different, a little more tolerable during these crazy times, because it is uncharted territory for most of us. We're not used to not being able to have our normal life. And it's kind of funny because, on Sunday night, my husband and I had a conversation about routine and how we're both routine people and how this has really thrown us off and how our lives have changed so much in the last couple of weeks. And he's just like, I just need to go to the office. I need to be able to do these things. And since then, for the last 3 days, he's gotten a call and he's had to go into the office, or he's had to go on a field call every single day. So I feel like God was listening to him, and he was like, okay, we're gonna give you a semblance of normalcy, at least right now, to try to deal with this. But that really brings me to the topic at hand, or what I want to talk about. Like I said, thank you guys so much for sticking with me. We are at day 20. Hopefully these videos give you some value and add a little bit of, craziness, sunshine, whatever, it means in your life, these days. So what I try to do is I just, if somebody messages me and says, hey, I really need you to talk about this, or, what's going on. I usually try to stick to those topics, or if something has happened or impacted my life that I feel like is going to help other people, then I try to talk about those things. So, please feel free to reach out to me if there's something that you feel like you need some help with, or that you'd like to talk about. Um, right now, and a conversation was kind of funny because it piggybacked. I had a conversation this morning with a friend of mine that just kind of really was like, oh yeah, this really goes into the topic that you wanted to discuss today. And what I really want to talk about is effective communication and kind of navigating and processing and dealing with all the feelings that we're feeling right now. And when it comes to what our normal life would have been like, and that part will probably go back to being a part of your normal life. When you work out of the home and you go into an office every day, whether it be, I was a general manager at a restaurant, front of the house manager at a restaurant, everything that you do, you're with those same people, or mostly the same people, every single day, right? So you're dealing with those people, and you literally spend 8, 10, 12. I mean, I know sometimes I would spend 16 hours with certain people. It's like you spend more time with your work family than you do with your home family. And so now all of a sudden, when we're thrust into being at home with them all the time, although that genuinely is typically what we are, longing for, it's like this whole great big change. And when that happens, it's super important. And I don't know if you guys have done any lives, so I just want to explain, I do have ADD, if you don't know that yet. And when this new or the live producer or whatever it is, it literally flashes like every couple of seconds and it's so distracting to me. So whenever I do these, now that I've been using that because it was the only way that it would allow me to do it the first day and now it just kind of automatically does it, it's sometimes a little frustrating and I have to look away. So when I'm looking away, it's usually because I'm like, okay, don't focus on that flashing, focus on your conversation and the point that you're trying to get across. So, I mean, I would love to hear from you guys that are on. And that's another thing. I have no idea how many people are on here. I have no idea how many people are watching this, which is probably a good thing. But if you guys are on here and, you've dealt with, I mean, even if you're watching the playback, raise your hand. Let me know if you're dealing with these kind of things. It's kind of, as a woman, I know I don't like, I feel guilty. I feel incredibly guilty that I now have this time to spend with my husband. And sometimes I kind of dread it, because it's like, are we going to fight today? Is something going to happen that's, one of us are going to get upset about? We're both, kind of anxious about not being on a regular routine as much as we both tried to do that. But I did do some scheduling things yesterday that I feel like is going to help me a lot. And hopefully, with him kind of doing the things that he's been doing, he's feeling a little bit better and can kind of adjust from there. It's not an all in or quick fix kind of thing. But anyway, the point is like, I've always thought, my gosh, we lived apart for 9 months. And all I wanted was to be able to spend some time with him. And now here I am with all the time in the world to spend with him for the most part. I mean, he does have to work and I have to work, but still we're in the same house and, we can eat every meal together if we want to. And, all of those things, it's kind of like, why do I dread it? This is what I wanted. This is exactly what I wanted. And I'm just here to tell you, like, it's okay to have those feelings. It's okay to feel like, guilty, first of all. It's okay to feel frustrated. It's okay to feel upset. It's okay to feel anxious. It's okay to feel scared. It's okay to feel frustrated. All of those things, it's okay to feel. You know, a friend of mine's mom had this saying that I literally will like die by, and feelings aren't wrong or right, they just are, right? They just exist. And they're not wrong or right to the person who's having them. And the thing of it is like you can't control your feelings. But as I talked about in one of my other videos, what you can control is how you react to those, right? So the one way that I found dealing with frustration, with overwhelm, with being scared, with a lot of those negative emotions is even guilty, is to have a plan, is to really take a look at things and try to figure out how I can really, plot out my day and feel better about the things that I'm actually able to accomplish. One of the things that I'm feeling guilty about right now is that I had gotten most of my house put away and done, but I've been focusing so much on trying to have a better relationship with my husband while we're stuck here together and on trying to build my business that like that just kind of gone by the wayside. And the way that I justified that to myself was, and again, this is me just being 100 transparent with you, was me in my own head saying, well, if you were working a full-time job outside of the house, would you have all this stuff done? No, you'd get it done when you could get it done. And that's what I'm doing. And there's some valid truth to that. There genuinely is some truth to that. So, having that and being able to understand that my emotions are probably heightened right now. And I shouldn't say probably, they are. And so, that being said, I just need to understand it. And in the worst thing that I feel like, in just my opinion, I'm not a professional in any way, shape, or form. I've just been through a lot of stuff in my life. So I feel like I do have a lot of experience and can certainly speak to this. But don't squelch those feelings. Like, don't squash them, don't push them down, don't, it's okay to feel. I'm not saying react. I'm not saying scream like a wild banshee, but I am saying feel it, acknowledge it, and then find a solution and let it go. So, what I've done, because I feel like we've just both been frustrated more with our schedule, not with each other, but we kind of have been taking it out on each other. And I don't think either one of us are doing it on purpose. It's just the nature of the beast, right? So this kind of gets me to the second part of this, and that is effective communication. And so what I've found with my husband is that, and I think most men kind of need this, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like most men want validation, right? They want to know that what they're doing is important. I really genuinely, I guess this could apply to all people. I mean, I certainly feel this way. But it seems like the men in my life have always kind of needed that, like, needed to know that they're needed and they're wanted. And this is, they are having an impact. I know that's super important to my husband. And obviously, by me doing these videos, it's pretty important to me as well. But for him, the job that he does. He does mobile crisis. He works with people. In fact, he just left to go help somebody who is having a complete breakdown. Obviously, I don't know the details because I'm not supposed to. It's none of my business. That's a whole HIPAA thing. But the whole point is that, he's off and he's going to go help this person. And that is what fuels his fire. That's what makes him feel alive. That's what makes him feel like he is giving back to the world. And I love him for that. I genuinely love him that he's so passionate about those things, that he wants to help people, that he can deal with those things. And for me, it's kind of like, I love giving back too. I love helping people, but I never really knew how, the most effective way for me to do that was. But anyway, I also feel like between us, it's kind of one of those things where we really need to be able to navigate all of this, right? So when it comes to even, your children, your spouse, your significant other, maybe you have, relatives that are living with you right now and they're not going anywhere because of all of this. They're not going to work, they're not doing anything, and now you guys are all together all the time. I would certainly suggest, like, giving up responsibilities if you have multiple people living there, even with children. I know my kids used to love to plan and participate in actually cooking and making meals because that meant they had a say in it. It was, they were important. So all of those things, I mean, just definitely don't try to take it all on yourself. Because that leads to that overwhelming feeling, right? But planning out a schedule and really looking at, okay, so today is my day to make dinner. So now I know that I have to put that in my plan for the day. And again, communicating all of this, being a good listener and listening to what people have to say, taking that into consideration, because guess what? They're going through all the feels too, right? They're dealing with all of this as well. It's not just you. And that's the one biggest thing that I've had to kind of acknowledge with my husband. I'm like, sometimes he gets so overwhelmed that he only looks at things from his perspective. And I'm like, listen, this has had a huge impact on me as well. I'm kind of the person who doesn't really vocalize things as much. Usually it's like I'll get snappy or I'll do things, and that's kind of how you know that something's bothering me, which is, again, not the most effective way to deal with your feelings. But I acknowledge that I certainly have my imperfections, lots of them actually. And that's just one thing that I try to be more cognizant of. I know that this is how I can be. So now if I feel myself getting that way, okay, what's causing this? What's the root cause? What can I do to be different? And how can I handle this? And acknowledge that I'm feeling that way as opposed to suppressing it, and then move on with my day. So one of the things, again, when I'm kind of like going back and forth between the feelings and communication, but it's super important to be able to communicate that. So when we sat down the last couple of days. Oh, I'm sorry, Roy. Well, you know what? I mean, that's kind of a blessing and a curse, right? Because you're doing everything by yourself, and then at the same time, you don't have anybody to get frustrated or angry with, but it also is probably very isolating. So I can imagine how frustrating that must be for you as well. So, people who are living alone, I think that reaching out to people, and again, when you're talking about communicating, reaching out to people online, reaching out to, your friends, your family members, checking on them, because even though they may have other people with them, they're probably ready to strangle them. I mean, it's just real life right now. But with my husband and I think what we've been able to effectively do over the last, I would really say it's gotten way better in the last 3 or 4 days. And that was when he opened up to me and said that he is just so overwhelmed and anxious about going back to work on Monday because of the unknown, is that we kind of talked about, okay, we really, and I mean, I talked to him before, but he wasn't really open to having the conversation. So we didn't get a whole lot accomplished with it. And I've learned to be patient with him because that's just how he functions. And sometimes I can be that way too. So it's not just him. It's kind of like we have to do things on our time, right? But it was like, we need to sit down and we need to have a schedule. We need to figure this out so that we can both be effective and work. And I told him last night, I was like, I kind of like, he opened up to me on Sunday, and then last night I opened up to him. And I'm like, there are things that I'm not doing in my business that I know that I have to do to move my business forward, but I don't know how to do it. I just don't know how to wrap my head around it. And by talking to him about that, I think it gave him, by being vulnerable, which I'm not normally, and really opening up to him, I really talked to him about the fact that, I need to find more effective methods and ways to be able to manage my time to accomplish all the things that I need to accomplish. And part of that is certainly getting up, at between 5:30 and 6:30 in the morning has kind of been my MO. Excuse me, today is a rest day for me. So I actually slept until 7:30. I didn't go to bed till 1. So about 6.5 hours I know that I need of sleep. That is another thing. Please make sure that you're getting enough rest and not too much rest, because when you get too much rest, you can be cranky because then you tend to feel completely exhausted throughout the day as well, but also not getting enough because you are stretching yourself way too thin. You're not getting enough rest to prepare yourself for, to be there for everyone else. So anyway, my videos have gotten a little bit longer and I apologize, but I feel like I'm digging in deeper into some more issues and I don't want to pigeonhole myself to a time frame that's going to limit the conversations and not really be able to effectively kind of expound upon the things that I really want to share with you guys. So I am going to try to keep this under 20 minutes. In the next 4 minutes, I'm going to try to wrap this up, but really just want to kind of circle back to, opening up, acknowledging your feelings, understanding and communicating. And being an effective communicator means listening as well. So, you can't really talk about the things that are going on if you're not actually hearing the other person. If you're not listening, being an active listener, if you're not processing the information and acknowledging the information, sometimes, and like that was kind of part of my husband the other day. He's like, I just need to get it off my chest. And I'm that way with a lot of things too. A lot of times I'll sound like I'm really bitching about stuff. And honestly, it's just I'm frustrated and I just need to get it out. And then once I say it all, I'm like, okay, now this is what I'm going to do. So it's like for me, it's kind of always having that plan and being able to move forward and do something that is effective and efficient beyond that. So, again, I'm just kind of like with not having the social interaction with people that we're used to having that with and being forced to be with people who we want to spend, I shouldn't say thought, we definitely want to spend more time with them. We just don't know how to, right? And it's okay to acknowledge that as well, right? We're used to a routine. We're used to the interactions that we have. We're not used to every day, all the time, being in front of those people. And I would highly encourage you, if you have children at home right now, you're probably so overwhelmed, and this is pure speculation on my part, with trying to make sure, just from conversations that I've had, trying to make sure that you get all their schoolwork in, trying to make sure that they eat and they're having healthy meals, trying to make sure that you get, set up and you're doing all the work that you need to do. But all of those things are more like, let's look at this from a business transaction and from a family time. I think what I've seen or heard from most people is that they're so exhausted by the end of the night that it's like, I just want to have a drink, or I just want to go to sleep, or I just want to, I've got to finish doing all of this and that. Don't forget to take time for your family, like actual family time. Because right now, it's like we're so overwhelmed with so many things that we have to accomplish, that we need to get done, that you really want to take that time and kind of think back to, okay, if this was the end of my workday and I came home, would we sit down and have a nice dinner together and have a conversation about our day? Yes, you may know how their day went. Maybe somebody had a meltdown. Somebody was grounded to their room. Somebody, wasn't allowed to watch the show that they wanted to watch and drove you crazy trying to watch Baby Shark or whatever. Maybe you know what their day was, but have you asked how they're feeling? Have you talked to them about, what they miss, what's going through their mind? Thank you, Roy. Because honestly, it's like you don't know unless you ask. And kids especially, they're going to answer a question, but they're not the most effective communicators, right? So they're not going to just come out and say, Mom, you really made me feel frustrated today. I'm frustrated with this math homework. I really just want to be able to go on vacation and have fun. We didn't get to have, what are we going to do for Easter? Why aren't we not going to be able to be with our family? And that makes me very sad. All of these things, like they're not, I mean, and maybe you are, maybe you're still going to go spend time with your family. Who knows? But the point is that you won't know what's going on with them unless you ask. And I strongly encourage you to do the same thing with your spouse or with your friends or any other family members that are living with you. So on that note, I just want to wrap up and say, listen, it is okay. It is okay to feel no matter what your feelings are. It is okay. They're not wrong. They're not right. They're just feelings. And they are definitely things that have an impact on your physical being. But acknowledge them, accept them, acknowledge them, and then make a plan and move on. Let go. Let go of those feelings, at least for the time being. That doesn't mean they're not going to resurface. But when you become efficient at handling things this way, it just makes life a lot smoother. And I think that a lot of people feel like, right now that they're not allowed to feel those things, that they're not allowed to be frustrated, or they're not allowed to deal with all of these emotions that they're dealing with. But I'm telling you, you are. It's okay, and you are not alone. And that is probably the most important thing that I can say right now is you are not alone. Everybody's going through different feelings and different emotions, and probably even some of the things that, like I said, I feel incredible guilt at times. And I have to just be like, what can I do better? Where is this coming from? It's there. Why am I having this? And what can I do to feel better about the things that I feel guilty about? So think about that. And then just practice effective communication. I mean, really practice being an active listener, asking questions, and sharing your feelings, sharing the things that are going on with you in a way that's not really attacking the other person. And that's something I've had to work on because I'm such a direct person. It's not really, I don't look at it as an attack. I look at it as an acknowledgement of what's going on. But sometimes I can come across that way to somebody else as an attack. So I've had to really think about how I have conversations. And this has been something that I've been working on in the last couple of years, not just, during this time. So anyway, I hope that you guys find some value in that. These videos, like I said, I'm going to continue coming live every morning at 9 a.m. Unless, something happens where otherwise I feel like I need to push it back and I want more time to prepare for the conversation or whatever the case may be. But I usually let you know ahead of time. So I will be here tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. With a new topic. And I'm definitely open. So if you guys want to see something, if you enjoy these videos, definitely make sure that you're commenting, sharing. Go to my YouTube channel. It still has 0 subscribers. But I know that people are watching the videos because I can see that. So if you find it easier to kind of find them in there, they are in order. I think they start with 3 or 4 and then go through, but we've now had 20 videos as of today. So kind of blows my mind because I didn't think it would go on this long, but as of right now, it looks like we are going to have several more days. And as long as I feel like what I'm doing is adding value to your life and helping you guys out, I'm going to keep coming here and I'm going to be here and I'm going to be that constant in your life. So if you feel like you don't have that, well, guess what? Sister, brother, I'm here. I will be here every day for you. And I'd love to hear, what you guys are dealing with and how you feel about the videos. So I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Again, thanks so much for tuning in. You have no idea how much it means to me. And I look forward to seeing you again. Have a great day.